Thank you very much, Sam. And hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be with you. I hear from all this speech. I'm not going to do any speech for you. I'm going to give you the example of my life. You know, one day someone asked me how I become an activist. And my response was, I am born an activist because you have to be an activist of human rights. When you're born in a community who do not have access to water to drink, access to electricity, access to education just to go to school, access to hospital when you are sick. So you have just to get born an activist because you have to fight for your own right first to be accepted by the others, and you have to fight for your community, or you have to fight for the environment that you live on it to be a better place for your peoples. So human rights-based approach, it's a thing that I grow up with and I fight for it because in this time, and we all know with the COVID pandemic and with all the environmental crisis, we are facing a threats, and those threats are already highlighted by some of the speakers. So I give you the concrete example of which kind of human rights violation we are going through. You know, when you do not go to the supermarket to buy your food, you are waiting for the rainfall just to grow your crops and save these crops for the next coming 12 months. So you know how it is so important to respect just the piece of land you have. How so much you can respect the piece of water that you can have and you can access it and share, and you can fight and put all your energy to have the equitable access to it. So this is what I'm doing. I create an organization called Indigenous Women and People Association of Chad, who fight for human rights, indigenous people rights, and environment protection, because we cannot talk about human rights as human beings without talking about environment rights that give us everything that we need. Even you are from developed or developing country, you need the food that you put in your tables that coming from the land, and that's called environment. And I try to work with the communities, women, men, to give them the voice, to see how we can develop a solution from the traditional knowledge to help better manage the resources, but better share those resources that's shrinking. And I help to give this example to the government at the national level to better use them to take a right solutions. And that's our call it the SDGs, because if they do not take a right decisions, they do not do a right policies, they cannot implement it at the community level. But who take the decision for all of them? The international level. And that's why also I'm involving at the international level to do a lobby, to give them the evidence to what is happening at the local level, and to tell them they cannot take a decision without that decision impact positively the local communities that need it. And this is leaving no one behind, because if they do not understand, they always leave the people behind and they create the inequality and injustice. So that's why I am so happy to be an SDG advocate and to work with young peoples, with women, with marginalized communities, with indigenous communities, to ensure that we do not leave no one behind. And in this note, we know we are in a very urgent crisis. We have only 10 years to achieve SDGs. We have 10 years to go through all the environmental crisis, climate change, biodiversity loss. And who are there? We have youth. So young people are there with all the knowledge, expertise, and traditional knowledge are there. So we need to come all together to implement the SDG 17, who is the partnership, to partner all together from religious, from communities, from scientists, technology, traditional knowledge, and act to help and serve my peoples to do not be left behind, and all the other indigenous peoples to do not be left behind. And finally, the green recovery. It's a very important part. So green recovery must leave no one behind, and it must respond to the basic needs of the peoples getting access to the right. You know, if we protect our nature will protect us back. We do not have any other solutions. Maybe for COVID, we are having a vaccine, but there is no vaccine for climate change. Our only vaccine is protecting our nature and coming all together. Thank you so much, Sam.